everybody, I'm Catherine.
And I'm Michael.
We're Next Step Learning. Welcome back to our series on learning loss and comprehension. This is our third video. A little recap for you. In our first video, we talked about what it looks like to make a mental movie and how to help your student do that. In our second video, we talked about the connection between that mental movie and recall, just relaying what happened in the story and remembering that. And then in this video, we want to talk about how that mental movie is essential not just to remember what happened, but to ask and answer questions about, well, why did this happen in the story? So Michael's going to give us a little anecdote.
Yes, so a couple of years ago, I was working with a student, and we read a story that was about a rat who lives in the jungle, who, at the start of the story, chews on the bark of a tree that's poisonous, and then he spits the poisonous tree bark onto his fur. And then when a jaguar comes by later on and bites the rat's spiky, poisonous fur, the jaguar gets sick and falls over. And then the next time the jaguar sees the rat, he walks on by without trying to attack it. So we read the story, and then I had the student give me a summary of the story, not looking at the text, and he gave a great summary. He remembered all the details. And then afterward I asked him, well, why do you think the rat chewed on that poisonous bark? And he thought about it for a second. He said, well, because he's a dumb animal. Clearly missing the point of the story. So part of the reason why critical thinking is based in image making is that to understand something, you have to have one cohesive movie of the entire episode rather than little bits and chunks. He knew there was a rat, he knew there was poisonous bark, he knew there was a jaguar that got sick after, but he wasn't connecting all of those dots because he wasn't making one cohesive movie for the entire process. So at home, when you're working with your student and you're noticing some of these things, that they're not able to answer inference questions about why something is happening, cause and effect, what might be happening next, one thing you can do is rather than simply telling them what happened or why something happened, you can ask them that kind of Socratic question to lead them back to recognizing that if they were making mental imagery for the language they were taking in, they'd be able to put together a cohesive understanding of the whole episode so that they could not just remember what happened, which our student did, but to understand why, to go one level deeper.
Yeah, so you can see in Michael's story, right, he just said, let's ask questions to get the student to understand what happened. So Michael, what kind of questions were you able to ask the student to prompt him to look at the whole movie and not just a snapshot?
Yes, and so he asked, I would ask him, so after he said the animal was a dumb animal, I said, well, what happened after he spit the poisonous bark on his fur? And he said, the jaguar came by, and I said, you're right, and what did the jaguar do? And he said, well, he bit him. And then I said, well, did the jaguar eat him? And then the light bulb went off. He said, oh no, the jaguar bit him, and then he got sick, and the next time he saw the rat, he didn't try to eat him again. And then he said, oh, so maybe the rat was protecting himself. So through all of those pieces coming back together,
there's the point.
It clicked, and he understood what was happening, but also, more importantly, why it was happening. And so through that kind of questioning, leading someone back, asking questions and having them answer questions that are rooted in that imagery, they will be able to come to the answer on their own, and eventually do that independently without someone asking them. So thanks so much for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next week.
Bye.